Welcome to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. Being visible as a soul-led business owner isn't just about the practical strategies, marketing tips, and tech systems. It's also about the internal systems, the safety of your nervous system, the somatic connection, and the embodiment of being a badass CEO that will support you in all of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I'm here to share all of that with you on this show. I'm your host, Shawnee Arsenault, a registered nurse turned visibility coach and business mentor for heart-centered coaches and healers. I created a six-figure coaching practice in my first year of business and scaled to multiple six figures my second year, all in the middle of getting pregnant with my first baby and becoming a new mama. If I can do this entrepreneurship thing, I know you can too. If you're ready to learn how to be a CEO in a way that feels aligned with your heart, become a lighthouse for the people that you're meant to serve, feel free to authentically express yourself and be a magnet for success, and grow your coaching business in a way that is sustainable and fulfilling, I can't wait to be in your ear along for the ride. Today, I have a very special client spotlight for all of you. So I'm spotlighting one of my incredible Vibrant Visibility clients who has done so much amazing inner work and is really seeing some shifts in her life and her business. And I would say it's not just like a success story. It's like a real raw conversation about the journey of overcoming those fears, of stepping into visibility and really showing up in your business with confidence. And so I would love to introduce Bree. She is a beautiful coach. She joined Vibrant Visibility last September. And today we're going to talk about your journey. Thank you so much, Bree, for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. I am just tickled to be able to talk about Vibrant Visibility and the growth that I've had. A little bit about me. I'm a wife. I'm a mother of two very busy toddlers. I'm a nurse, but more importantly, in this part of my journey, I'm a life alignment coach that helps people rediscover the woman, the man in the mirror, where you just don't know who's in the mirror anymore, and you want to rediscover that self again. Those are the people I mainly work with, and to be on that journey is so powerful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is such a vivid description. Like if any of you who are listening to this are moms as well, looking in the mirror and like not knowing who you are, especially in that early stage when you have like young kids. Tell me a little bit about obviously there's like personal experience with this, but what was it that drew you to, like, you were like, I have to work with these people too?
Yeah. I found myself in this same exact spot multiple times in my life. I think probably the most poignant, which started me on this journey, was I was before motherhood. Actually, I was a nurse, and about half a decade ago, and I remember on my day off trying to rest. I was getting ready, and I was looking in the mirror, and I was just confused and kind of a little distraught. Like, who's this woman in the mirror looking at me? Like exhausted. Like I don't know who I am anymore. And I remember that like playing in my mind, like I thought I had it all. I had the dream job. I had the dream husband. I was supposed to be like living my best life. And I'm looking in the mirror and I don't even know who I am anymore.
Oh.
And like that, yeah, just like you said, like that stomach drop moment. Like,
yeah, I felt that. I felt that as you were talking about it too. Like, cause I've definitely experienced something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I kind of felt pulled, like I need to figure out who I am. Who's that woman in the mirror? What am I supposed to be doing? All these thoughts were circling. But just as soon as I started being curious, fear came in because I was staring into the unknown. I didn't know it at the time subconsciously, but now like reflecting, I was literally staring into the unknown to all possibilities. And part of me didn't want to change. I'd worked so hard. This is something I loved, or at least I thought at the moment. And taking that leap of faith or walking into the unknown seemed way too scary. But being in the tension between desiring it and not going down the path and sticking in a position and in a place in my life that I really didn't have that I wasn't aligned to be there anymore. The tension just broke me. I remember crying after work. My husband was working graves. I would wait until I'd go to work and I would just cry myself to sleep because I was just so torn and I didn't want to let go of the familiar, the safe, but I felt like I needed to do something different. And I remember one night I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I'm a Christian woman, so I got down on my knees and I prayed and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I just need some help. I just need to trust fall and I just let me know that you're gonna catch me. Um, and so I leapt. And I'm so glad I did. As
Yeah.
in the surrendering and the trust fall of it all, um, I found out that this woman in the mirror was this messy, compassionate truth seeker who had all this space for curiosity. And that's when I found coaching and I became a mom. And all the like the domino effect of that one trust fall led to me leaning more into the unknown. And
Mm.
the benefits of that is just spaciousness, this alignment, this the tension between life's extremes is a lot less hard to handle. Yeah, just being more centered and grounded. And that's what I help people do is get centered and grounded and rediscover who they are.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that you said that, that there's that first trust fall that you take that just kinda creates a domino effect for all of the trust falls that you will take afterwards, and it kinda lessens the blow of all of those, like, really leaning into that first trust fall, and then, one of the things that you said earlier was kind of holding on to what felt safe, and really not wanting to let that go, but knowing that you weren't meant to be there. And so, was there like a particular moment that you can remember where you were like, okay, yes, it feels so scary to let this piece go, but I know I have to let it go in order to move forward here? Like was there a moment or was it just kind of like something that hit?
In that example, that my first instance of trust falling, it was more gradual. So that
Yeah.
in of like I called it the devil I knew. I wanted to stay
Yeah.
because I didn't know the risks. I didn't know what the cost would be. And so picking apart, I had to pick apart safety, what I thought was safety. Um,
Yeah.
is it really safe if I'm depressed and anxious and having panic attacks or going to work? Like, is that really
Yeah.
safety? And a part of me knew that it wasn't. Uh, we knew that can't possibly be safety. The pain there couldn't possibly like equate to that. That it was more of a gradual
Mhm.
awakening to like
Yeah.
redefining what safety was for me.
Yeah. I think that's so important to identify because whenever people think about like doing this kind of work, this kind of like deep work, I think I think others have like a very warped perspective of like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's like this big awakening when really, I mean, as you know from being in vibrant visibility, it's all about those like small incremental steps. And yes, like whenever you get to that level of transformation, you can kind of look back and be like, wow, I have grown a lot, but it doesn't quite feel like that during the whole process, right? It's like taking those small, tiny little steps. Um, yeah, and so I'm curious to know, like, as you've started your business and you started to put yourself out there before joining Vibrant Visibility, like in that first phase, what did putting yourself out there feel like before joining? Like, how did you feel about being visible beforehand?
Ooh, my mind automatically goes to summer. So I was in another
Yeah.
coaching container at the time, and I knew, like, I actually was reviewing my journal, and I've been on this like visibility journey since fall of 23. And it's funny
Yeah.
to go back. I'm like, oh, okay. But in the summer, we were challenged to show up online and to try to do videos. And for me, I've always been a writer. I've always been really comfortable with writing. But when it comes to showing up with my face and my voice, I was paralyzed,
Mm.
paralyzed. And in the summer, I was trying to do videos. I remember sitting in the backyard and trying to press play, and like my body, my finger will not press play. Like my whole
Yeah.
body shut down. And but I have all these great ideas and they're all up here. I can't do it. And I think that's when it really became apparent that there was something deeper. Like
Mhm.
if I have if I have this voice, if I have all these messages that I want to share, but I can't press the button.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I bet so many people watching this can relate to that specific scenario of like how many of you have wanted to like show up on video or post something really vulnerable or do something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, and you have like I can sense that there's so much on your heart to share too, and like it was all just like swimming in there, and then like the that internal sense of safety was just not there. What was like do you have a specific moment that you realized, like, "Hey, I have to make this a priority if I'm gonna do the work that I'm meant to do?"
Yeah, I think pretty quickly after that video, I was
Mhm.
sitting there and I'm a sticky note queen. I have sticky notes all over, written ideas, and I was looking at my sticky notes, like, if I'm gonna keep this business alive, if I'm gonna be able to serve people I wanna serve and share my message, we're gonna figure this out. And in the trust fall at all, I'm a real big believer that when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Um, and
Yeah.
that's right kind of when your content was coming out, and I was like, okay, like obviously this is a sign for me. I need to explore this further.
Yeah. I love that. Like, whenever the student is ready, the teacher arrives. Like, that is such a beautiful parallel in so many different areas of life too, right? I think that, um, like, whenever you energetically are ready for something, it will come. It will be placed in front of you. And yeah, I loved being able to connect with you on that, because I remember whenever we first started, it was just kind of like this ease of our conversation of like, I kind of knew that you were meant to be in this program. After that initial choice, after that initial, like, okay, this is the work that I need to do. What was the biggest breakthrough moment in that, like, first maybe 3 months of the program? Like, do you have a particular session or exercise or course content piece? Like, what was it that kind of made things start to really click for you?
I mean, the biggest work, the biggest push was that first part of the program for me, because I knew that there was that deeper work. And why I signed on with you is because you had created this program with spaciousness to do the deep dive, and I knew that's where
Mhm.
I needed to go. So that the heavy push there for me in the beginning was a safety piece, was confronting that part of me that didn't feel safe to be visible in the world.
Mm.
And remember, you encouraged us to go deeper, as deep as we could go, honoring where we were at. And I had to write to that part of me. And I'm a writer,
Mhm.
right? So I had to write to that part of me, uh, and hold space for that woman who just felt betrayed, felt rejected, felt judged. And I had to hold space and compassion for that part of me that has always been present subconsciously, but bringing that to consciousness and allowing that part of me to have a voice was
Mm.
so like a big breakthrough for me that allowed me to pull her along and say, it's okay. We got this.
Yeah. Yeah, what I think of whenever you say that is sometimes whenever those parts of us arise, our initial instinct is to, like, push it away. Like, "Can we just go away? I need to get rid of you. You're in the way." Right? And, it can feel kind of counterintuitive. It can feel like contradictory to, like, bring that part of us along and welcome them and actually have, like, compassion and give them space to have their voice be heard. So what was that like for you? Like, with that initial, or did you feel that? Did you feel like initially like, "Oh, the I don't wanna deal with this part of me," but then that invitation to actually bring her in?
It's the hardest to bring her in. It was
Mhm.
easier to keep her locked away. Uh,
Yeah.
and to bring her to the forefront was, again, kind of like my other journey was more gradual. When I brought her into the forefront consciously, I saw how much she played in my day-to-day life, where I was playing small, where she was whispering like, "Oh no, don't do that. It's not safe."
Mhm.
When I could hear her voice and know that it was coming from her and not just me in my entirety, but just a facet of me, I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, I love you enough to say I've got this."
Mm.
It was really kind of more of a journey of the safety piece was a journey more of self-compassion. I can be scared and still do it anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the way you said that, it's like it's not a push energy. Like, you can be scared and do it anyways, but it's not a forced thing. You're yeah, I love the way that you said that, because a lot of people will say, like, you hear that quote of like, "Feel the fear, do it anyways," and it's very like it's very masculine. It's very like push through. And the way that you described that, it just had this more like spacious, compassionate, kind of like feminine flow energy too.
Just not my
Mm.
default, by the way. So that was also kind of a learning curve too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, do you feel different now when showing up for your business? Now that you've like given yourself the space to allow that part of you come to the surface and kind of work with you in a partnership? Like how does it feel different now whenever you are visible for your business?
Still feel the fear, but it doesn't stop me.
Yeah.
Some of the practices and the rituals that we do in the program really help ground us. And I've tried to leverage that because when I ground, I get to speak to both her and myself, the coach that's trying to share the message. And I kind of get to integrate both. And when I integrate both parts, I find myself there's less resistance in pressing play. There's less resistance in I haven't done it live yet, but
Mm-hmm.
there's less resistance in recording the video, recording the audio, where before I was just a full shutdown.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Can you talk about, like, the actual steps that you took? Because we've been working on, like, inching your way, taking those baby steps. In the program I talk about I call it titration. So we've been working on, like, kinda titrating your way to doing more video content and more putting yourself out there more so people can actually see your face, hear your voice. What was, like, the process that really helped you move that along? Like, I know very well, like, what you've done, but just for people who are out there who are like, "How did you go from here to here?" Like, what was that process for you?
Yeah. So in working together, writing was already my strong suit. I'd
Yeah.
already been doing a lot of writing and content. And so the next step that we agreed upon was getting my voice, recording my voice, capturing that in small moments, which was my first big leap. So I at that point I never had recorded audio. I was felt stuck. Like something was stuck
Mhm.
in my throat here when pressing play. Again, that paralyzing uh,
Mhm.
fear. But in titration, it was starting small, like just recording my own voice for me.
Mhm.
And when I listened back the first time to some message that had popped in my brain, which I'm capturing between changing diapers and phone calls, but I was listening to my voice for the first time, like, oh, I actually don't sound as bad as I thought I would sound.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was continuing to record and then sharing it,
Mhm.
sharing my thoughts with others. And then finally, titrating up from there, gradually working up from there, was sharing it more publicly. And I actually found the leap from audio to video wasn't as much of a leap as I anticipated. And
Mhm.
so I was able to post a couple of videos online. And um, for me, that was an amazing feat. Because before that
Yeah.
girl in the summer, she couldn't even press record. So to be able to do that and submit it and let it let that message be in the world and not constantly looking back on the page, wondering, you know, am I being criticized? That fear wasn't as large or present anymore. I was
Mm.
gradually working up to it was so like you can see probably the relief in my face, but
Yeah.
it was exactly what I needed is permission to take the baby steps.
Yeah. Yeah, permission to take the baby step because it does kind of feel like whenever we're titrating and we're starting really small with, like, recording voice memos just for you, not sharing it with anyone. Sometimes we can sit there and be like, "Is this doing anything? Like, why this feels doesn't feel like it has purpose." But it really does. Like, earlier you talked about safety and how, like, it was paralyzing for you to press play on those videos, and this process really allowed you to kind of redefine what it means to actually feel safety. And so, like, starting with where you're currently at and then inching forward, you're actively changing your definition of safety inside. And so I love that you even said by the time that you got to doing video, it didn't feel like quite that big of a jump. But if you look at it from where you first started, it is a big jump. It for someone who like couldn't press play to like or press record to someone who like confidently was able to like share videos and not have to like go back and refresh and see who reacted to it and things like that. That is an amazing jump. And so, yeah, just like wanted to celebrate you for that because I think there's an opportunity here to totally skip over the part where we give ourselves credit for doing that small incremental work. Yeah. Okay. So what about like what has changed specifically in the way that you interact with your business now that you've started to do this deeper inner work and you're starting to feel more and more comfortable, more and more safe, like being visible? How has the way that you've interacted with your business or the way that you work in your business changed?
I think the biggest change has been a little less chaotic. That's marketing has always been kind of like that the next unknown for me,
Yeah.
and visibility being really tied to that. And so I have all through titrating, like all these thoughts, all these messages in my heart that I really want to share. And now I'm physically practicing utilizing that voice. The next step from there is, what do I say? What do I say when
Mhm.
I'm online? What do I tell people that's coming from a place of being grounded in alignment and authentic? And the exciting thing is I'm starting to organize and formulate what I want to share in a cohesive way in language that's hopefully going to land. But at the core of it is true to who I am. And that's what I wanted in the first place. And there's so many strategies out there of how to post content, and there's so many beautiful people who showcase those strategies. But I came into visibility because I wanted it to be my voice. Uh,
Yeah.
I wanted to utilize the techniques, but I wanted it to be my voice that was out there to showcase who I am and what my message is and how I can help others. Uh, and so now that I'm practicing that, I get to do the next step, which is share in an authentic way.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I like that you said that there are so many strategies out there and it can get pretty noisy, right? It can get pretty noisy with all of the like different techniques and the different tips and stuff like that. And I think the reason why, like, here's the pattern that I see for most people who like either graduate from a certification or start their businesses right out the gate and immediately go to just the strategy and kind of push that inner work that you've been doing aside, is that there's like I don't want to say an emptiness, but that's kind of the only word that I can think of. There's like an emptiness that comes with their marketing. Like it doesn't land quite right. It just kind of sounds fabricated and very general. And the reason people are going to be magnetized to you is that like really personal, really vulnerable, really deep connection that you have to the work. And then people will also relate to it. So, yeah, I love that. And I've definitely been seeing that as you've like shared more and like shown up more. Um, how has it affected, like, not just your business, but outside of your business, like, in your everyday life? Like, has the work that you've been doing inside of this program kind of bled into other areas?
I love that you asked that question
Yeah.
because I'm a big believer in um, that all parts are come to play, that holistic approach.
Mhm.
And uh, like I said, I'm a Christian woman. My community is, my neighborhood and my church. And I was never the one that would raise my hand to share a comment.
Mm.
I kind of be the observer, the listener, supporter, and I'm finding myself more sharing my thoughts easily without as much resistance. And I was like, oh, okay. It is bleeding into not just the business, but in how I show up in my community and how I show up with others.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That is so amazing because, like, I know on the surface level, whenever you look at something like vibrant visibility, it can just be like, okay, I'm going to learn how to show up for my business, yada, yada, yada. But I love that you shared that because that's like part of the mission of this program is to like help you feel like you can share your voice at any moment, at any time. um, and not feel like you have to filter yourself all the time based off of what other people want you. So, like, I mean, I can see this being so helpful inside of your community, inside of your relationships, um, and like even as a mom, like I love that. I love that that you see it like bleeding into other areas. Um, okay, if you were to say like someone who's maybe afraid to be visible in their business, kind of like knowing what you know now and doing the work that you've already done, what would you what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's kind of like sitting on the fence about doing this work? What would you tell them?
If you're feeling called to do it, the leap is worth it.
Mm. That was so beautiful to watch just now, like, and just watching you close your eyes and like let it come through. We do this a lot inside of the program, right? Like of just
Mhm.
closing our eyes and and like the pause and just letting the message come through and like whatever's on your heart, that's what's meant to be said. So yeah, if we're feeling the call to do it, the leap is worth it. What made it worth it for you?
Because of the spaciousness of the program, I mean, with the intention that I came for, which was to find my voice
Mhm.
and to practice utilizing it, I got exactly what I came for.
Mhm.
And even more because it bleeds into my personal life. It's almost a double blessing. The more that we invest in ourselves, the more just flow, alignment. I wouldn't say ease. I don't think my life is easy. My business is easy, but it's not burdensome, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like dreading sitting at my computer, looking like staring at the page, thinking, what am I going to say that's going to land? What am I going to say that, like, am I just going to shout into the void and like it's just going to echo? Uh, there's not that dread piece anymore. It's light and hopeful, and uh, there's a lot of play in there that I didn't think was possible before the
Mhm.
program because I was so focused on the fear part of not feeling safe sharing the message. But on the other side of that, I get to be creative and play and utilize my voice for good.
Oh yeah, I love that you mentioned creative and play. Like that's another big theme here in Vibrant Visibility is like incorporating like fun into your business and like being able to kind of tap into those parts of you that imagine and want to create something new and want to break the rules a little bit and not feel so structured and so confined to like societal expectations or whatever. And there's like this element of fun that we bring into our business whenever we're being seen. So I love that. I love that. Okay, so I know you tell us a little bit more about the work that you do, the clients that you help. Just give us a little bit about, you and who you help.
I help moms, but mainly I'm helping those people who want to rediscover themselves.
Yeah.
We take it slow. We lean into the unknown. We take the deep dive together and really ground ourselves on values, on what's most important, and then take the playful approach to explore outside of the roles of the mom role,
Mhm.
maybe the corporate role or the relationships, all those hats that we wear as human beings that sometimes we define ourselves in, kind of exploring outside of that
Mhm.
um, to eventually at the end of it feel confident when we look in the mirror. I know when I love that person, and I'm
Oh,
so excited to walk into the future.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so where can people find you? How can people work with you? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, you can find me at my business Dancing Crane Coaching. You can find me there at dancingcranecoaching.com. I'm on socials. I'm on Facebook mainly. It's where you can
Mhm.
DM me or reach out. You can also reach me at Brianna at
Awesome.
dancingcranecoaching.com.
Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah, all of your links and things will be in the description. If I repurpose this for the podcast, it'll be in the show notes. Like people will be able to find you. But thank you so much, Bree, for being here and for sharing your experience. And it really is just like such a beautiful way to kind of wrap up. Like we're kind of entering into that last phase of this program right now. It's a beautiful way to wrap up this part of the program with you like showing up live and sharing your story. And like this is something maybe that like, we talked a little bit about before we hit record, that this is stretching yourself a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, going from the girl who couldn't, plus record to now I'm with you, Shawnee, interviewing live with other people. Like this
Yeah.
girl in the summer wouldn't have been doing this at all. So
Yeah, to wrap up, I wonder if there's like something that you would say to that girl from the summer. Like if there was a piece of wisdom you wanted to drop or something to kind of help ease her anxiety about like showing up and being visible, is there anything you'd want to say to her?
when you slow down, it will come.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to be in a hurry. You don't have to apply the strategy now. You don't have to be a drill sergeant to share your voice. When you slow down, in the stillness of it all, um, which can be hard for a working mom. When you
Yeah.
slow down, it will come.
Oh, I love that. That is probably one of the most important messages that I would give to any coach, entrepreneur, healer out there. especially those of you who consider yourselves like high achievers and like, perfectionists. Like there's so much magic in the slowdown, and it is probably one of the hardest things to do. It's like that first trust fall that we have to really lean into, is like trusting that the slowdown is going to be the way to build really quickly. So yeah, I love that you shared that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Brie, for spending some time with me. I hope all of you listening got so much from her story. I'll have all of her info in the description, show notes, wherever this is. Yeah, I so appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you, Shani. That's wonderful.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this was helpful for you, subscribe to the show to make sure you're always in the loop when a new episode is out. And I would love to invite you to join me in the free Visibility and Tech Support for Coaches community, where we hang out and chat about all things visibility, tech, systems, and heart-centered business building. I regularly share tips and tutorials and go live every now and then, and it's just nice to be in a community with other like-minded coaches and healers. So you can join this free space at alignwellco.com/community, and I can't wait to see you there.